everybody. Welcome. We're back Thursday night for another episode of Thrifty Business. And before anyone says anything, yes, I have two shirts on. One has sleeves because it's raining and kind of cold here. Not as cold as what my mom is going with, but yes, I have sleeves on tonight. So we'll tell you right away. Look out. So Thursday night, I'm Vegas Jay here in rainy Vegas. What's happening?
Hello. I'm home in Vacaville finally.
Yay.
Doing a show from home.
Well, let's get the show a-rolling, and let's get right to our first segment, shall we, Deb?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Time for tonight's Jay's Tiki Talk, where each week I drink a different rum out of a different mug. I try and match it up to our guest, and I think I've done quite well again this week. Our guest is Melissa Lentz. How are you, Melissa?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am. Now, this doesn't normally happen, but the guest this week was hanging out with me at a Tiki Bar just last weekend. So to match up, I am drinking out of a mug from the bar we were hanging out at, the Mai Kai.
How convenient.
So the little less than the Mai Kai barrels. The vintage ones will do quite well. Anything modern, not so much, because they've sold rum barrels for 50 years. So they're kind of plentiful. So I wouldn't pass them up. It was a couple bucks, but they are plentiful. There are other Mai Kai mugs that you should buy. And the rum this week, oh my gosh, there is a rum distillery in Key West. So we decided to grab a bottle, and we didn't even try this. And this is called the Key West Devil's Rum. And since our home bar is the Den of Sin, of course, you got to have the devil rum. Well, this is pretty much the fireball of rum. It is.
Oh, well, fireball.
Yeah, and it is so perfect for this time of year. So it's yummy. So what's happening, Melissa? What are you having with us this evening?
I'm actually having a rum runner in this awesome tiki mug that I acquired this weekend from, I don't know, some person with a beard in a class.
Very nice. And Deb, what are you drinking out of this weekend?
Well, and in case you don't know, there's these Santa pop-ups going across the 12 tiki bars across the country, and we have one in Sac, so I'm drinking out of the Santa Claus. That's so cool. But I'm not drinking rum, guys. I'm drinking wine, Friscato. This is so good. It's a dessert wine. And then my husband would like me to show.
To drink wine. I think it's against the law to drink wine out of tiki mugs. I think so.
Father, please forgive me for I have sinned. This is another mug that we picked up at the Jungle Bird. That's where they're having this special event. And Bill wanted me to showcase this because we have these for sale in our store.
All right, cool. All right, Melissa, enjoy your cocktail. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and we'll see you in about half an hour.
Bye, girl.
Thanks.
All right, there we go. All right, let's get right to it, shall we? Time for our scores of the week. These are Bolos. Be on the lookout. Things that Debbie and I have sold that you should be keeping your eye out for when you're out and about thrifting.
Okay, and before I get started, I wanted to say Happy Hanukkah. And happy 19 days till Christmas, y'all. Can you believe that? Starting tomorrow is 19 days. Oh, my. Okay, this set of books, I got in a bag sale at the Friends of the Library for $5, and I think they were listed for like 2 years. I love at Christmas time because things that have been listed forever finally sell. $89.
Nice.
Yes. Love to sell books. And this little guy we found at a thrift store. We like to go down to Pacifica and shop, and I paid $5 for it, and I had it listed at $89, and I accepted an offer of $79 because it was listed for a little while too. But oh man, it's brand new. It was sealed and everything. It's amazing what we can find.
Oh, hey, a tiki mug. Get out. What?
Well, somebody we know teaches us to drink for free, so when we go to Disneyland, we make sure we do that. This is the Piranha mug, and we sold it for the asking price of $64.99. And it's so funny because, you know, we teach when you talk or think about an item, it will sell. Bill said to me, I wonder why we haven't sold a Piranha. And an hour later, cha-ching, there it went.
And how much did the Piranha cost with the drink in it? Do you remember?
$25.
$25 with the drink. So the drink is free and then profit in your pocket.
Oh, yeah. And we have more. We have more. Oh, can you believe? I can't say this word. I call it bliblack. I finally found my first bliblack blanket, and he sold for $54.99. My husband will put things in draft. He might have put it at $49.99. I always bump it up a little bit, and I got it.
Now we're going to do this together. You ready?
Yeah.
B.
B.
Der.
Lack.
Lack.
It's easy when I can see it, but when I'm out, I'm like, I can't say that word. I can say San Marcos. We have one of those that need to sell.
But wait till you see my duds this week. It's kind of funny. All right, just shipped this yesterday. Do you know Uggs makes robes? I did.
No, I did not.
I paid $7.99 and sold it for $50.
Nice.
I'm going to sneeze at any second. Sold a couple cassettes this week I wanted to share with you. This one is Frontline Assembly. They're an industrial band, but this one was autographed, which I didn't know until I'd already bought it, and I opened it up, and a guy wrote me, and he was so excited to give this cassette to his girl for Christmas. What year is it? Is it really 2018?
They must be millennials. They know what's happening.
But even better, this Rancid cassette I sold to England for $35. That is a used cassette for $35. And this Rancid cassette was in a unique, what they call the cigarette case, because it opens from the top of your traditional
that is cool
cassette case. So, if you haven't believed me yet, believe me now, cassettes are hot.
I believe you.
Got this Wrangler jean jacket. Wrangler jean jackets are good. They're not as good as Levi's, but they still do well. Picked it up for $6.99, and I sold it for $50. It was one of them blanket lined jackets.
Nice.
And you saw this in one of my hauls. It's
I remember.
A nice quiver made from this company in Japan, and they make these great quivers. The problem is Charlene had bought this originally, and I did not notice the name was there when I bought it until I took it home, and I'm like, what are the chances I'm going to find a Charlene who's into archery who wants a red Japanese-made quiver? I don't know if I did find a Charlene or not, but they still bought it for $40. So had this not had a name on it, I probably could have got $100 for this. But when someone offered me $40 because the name is there, I happily took it.
Nice. Yep.
All right. So after our scores of the week, we need to share my CD score of the week. And this one's extra special. Dick Hames, who I don't know and probably none of you know, just sold his Christmas CD for $75. The best part is sold the exact same CD last year for $80, and I have another one downstairs that I need to relist. So I keep finding this CD over and over and over, and I keep making good money because when I find them, it's usually priced around $3.99.
That's crazy that you found 3 of them.
I know, but not everything can be good things. Now it's time for our duds of the week. Do not let our mistakes be yours. Not everything we buy is winner chicken dinner. Sometimes it's
Yeah, Willy Wonderland. We sold him 2 years to the day of when we listed it, and I accepted an offer of $12. So there you go.
You had a Willie K Christmas CD I've never heard of, and Deb.
Well, I didn't know you never heard of it, but I kept calling it Willie Nelson. Imagine said it's not Willie Nelson.
Yeah, I've met Willie K. I've talked to him. He's an artist. He lives in Maui, and yeah, I've a very I love Willie K. I would have bought this from you.
I was gonna say, do you check my store?
Apparently not enough.
Okay, and then these Levi's, we accepted an offer of $10. They had a few little flaws on them, which doesn't seem to bother. A lot of our Levi's and things do have flaws and stains, and people still buy them. But this one was 10. And then you get to that point, it's like, do I bother to counter at 15? Because then he's going to come back at like 11. So I just said, yeah, we sold those for 10. I'm pretty sure we got these at the bin, so I probably paid 26 cents for them anyway.
So mine, I thought, being our country is so divided by politics, there's hardcore people on the right and hardcore people on the left. So one of any of the sides I thought would sell. I don't care what side's being made fun of. And I had this forever. I pulled it at one point. Things got a little crazier, so I put it back up. So I finally sold for $6.47 with free shipping, and I was happy to see it go. So no more funny Trump shirts for me.
That's funny. We shall overcome.
Yeah, you showed a beater lack in your scores. I'm showing you a San Marcos in my duds, and here's why. These blankets do take up a lot of room. And they typically like the big cats, orca the killer whale. I think these deers, Debbie, were too cutesy, and it was a smaller blanket. It was just a twin XL. And so when you get king size, they're way easier to sell. And so although I made money, I put it on my duds because I'm like, there was a point where I was just grabbing anything. I think I'm going to stick just to the bigger ones now, queens and kings.
Yeah.
Because really, it took over a year to sell.
And $40 for a used blanket is really still a good price when you think about it.
The price wasn't bad, but even as a twin, when they're folded up, they take up a lot of room. So you want to move your beater lax and your San Marcos quick, and you can't if it's a twin XL with some cutesy deer on it. That is not a winner. So I got it. I'll never buy it again.
Ours is stored under our pool table. I put it in a big trash bag, keeps it clean, and I shove it under the pool table.
All right, now it's time for where in the world did our stuff go? If you are not selling internationally, you are leaving out 7.3 billion potential customers. So stop right now. List internationally. Unfortunately, Deb didn't have the international this week. So, but I did. And I went this time, it went to Kanagawa, Japan, which I had never heard of until I shipped this. And it's one of these rare records that people really hunt for, and it's called Black Cat Bones Barbed Wire Sandwich. So I wanted to share with you as a kind of an added bolo. I've only ever seen once. This one I sold, but I've seen discussions of it on forums on Facebook, and the fact that it went to Japan just excited me. And but this one's one of those that took a fun little vacation. Customer messaged me at one point, says tracking shows it's in Canada.
Oh my!
The day I shipped this, I had no Canadian customers, so it wasn't like I flipped labels. So finally, it somehow worked its way from Nevada to Canada, and it finally made it to Japan. So
this just in. Guess what we just sold just right now? A piranha.
What?
A piranha.
Shut up! I was going to say beater lag.
No, Bill threw his arms up. I'm like, what's wrong with him? And I looked down at my phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we just sold another piranha. I think that's all we have because we have to keep one.
All right, now it's time for our thrifty tips of the week. Little tips and tricks to help you out when you're in the thrift store. Segment brought to you by Stamps.com. Postage on demand. Print your postage at home with just computer, the internet, and your printer.
Alrighty. I don't know if anybody knew that Habitat for Humanity has a restore. So it's items that are donated. If you go on, I put their website there, and then you can go in and put your zip code. I checked different, across the country because I didn't know if they were just in California or how far they went. East Coast, Texas, they're Washington State. So they have all kinds of items, and it's a lot of, you can think of it as like a hardware or a home improvement type store. But we went in ours and found these really cool melamine dishes that had palm trees, and they were like textured. And originally, we had them for a while at $79, and they didn't sell, and someone gave us an offer of $35. We paid $10. So we went ahead and accepted that. But when you go into these, there's lighting, I think a wallpaper, all different kinds of things. So I'm always thinking of maybe vintage. If someone is doing a remodel, they will donate those items to these restores, and then you can get, vintage pools for cabinets, just all kinds of things. So go and check them out if you have one in your area and see what you can find.
All right. So before I get to mine, I'm going to explain why I'm showing you this, and then I'm going to answer a quick question. Lisa said, how do you photograph your blankets? If you can get up on a ladder in a bedroom over a bed and you have a clean bedroom, we kind of recommend that. I take them out front on the ground because I have a veranda off my second story bedroom, so I can have my assistant just lay them down. I lean over, snap the picture. We flip them over, snap the picture. So you got to find a high vantage point. That's how I do photographs of blankets. All right. So I was in the thrift store I was teaching a class in that Melissa took in Fort Lauderdale, and I jokingly said to my admins, you're in Florida when, because I never see this in Vegas or California, there's a whole rack of Hoochie Mama shorts.
Oh.
Or, as most of us know them, Daisy Duke shorts. So I kind of goofed on it until my admin sent me links of the solds of Hoochie Mama Daisy Dukes. I'm like, should probably look through those. So just here's some examples. Rock Revival makes shorty short shorts. And all those are selling in the $80 to $90 range. And this is Rag and Bone, which is another great band. Look how short these are, Deb. Take a close look at the front, and these sold for $82. So
wow.
if you walk into your thrift store and they have a Hoochie Mama short section, don't ignore it. Look at it because there's money to be made. And obviously, they're tiny. They're easy to ship.
Yeah, that's first class. It says new without tags. They look thrashed.
That's the point. That's the point.
I know, but oh my gosh. Whoa.
Now, you're definitely going to see those where it's warm. So South Florida, South Texas. I don't ever see them here. Didn't see them in LA ever. I mean, I'd see them, but not a whole section. So
right. Not here either.
If you see a section, check it out. There is some good stuff in there.
There's not even $82 worth of fabric there.
No, there's like $132. All right, now it's time for You Have Got to Be shipping me little tips and tricks to help you out when you're shipping out your sales.
Okay, on our last show, we sold an Advent set, and it was in a pretty big box. So this is what we had to do. We stood there looking at each other because you don't want to go oversized. If you can avoid it, or even if you are oversized, get as much off. So we started with number 1. So I think it's an 18 by 24. I can't remember the exact. Then number 2, I told my husband, let's cut the end off. So we just cut the end off. Then we did some, scoring and folding in to get the sides in to fit our box. And then we put that end back on. And that's how we reduced our box. Because it's easy to go down this way with our box sizers, but how do you go this way? So we figured it out.
I love that. The ingenuity of, frankenboxing bigger or smaller. I love doing it. And I love watching other people do it too. So that's always makes me smile. Yay.
Yes. We can do anything.
All right. So bonus international sale. I sold this Nightmare Before Christmas to a messenger bag to Germany. And it probably could have gotten folded, but I didn't want to. I'd rather not put a crease through the artwork because it wasn't just screened on. I think it was like not an iron-on, but more along those lines, Deb. So it wasn't just like this. And so I didn't want to fold it. And I always tell people to have these envelopes. You use them very infrequently, and they're not cheap, but every once in a while you need them. So I used a number 7 bubble mailer, and it fit exactly in there, so no folds needed. Then to make it secure, I just cut the exact same size of cardboard as the envelope, slid it in, so it was nice and stable. It's going to go internationally, but this way it won't get folded and crease it up.
Good job. Yep. Takes all sizes.
Heck yeah. All right. Now it's time for our eBay tips of the week. Little tips and tricks to help you out when you are selling on eBay.
Okay, this is my tip, but I'm going to give you another bonus to go along with it.
Bonuses.
We sold a set of books, and can you believe that 2 of us did not realize we sent the wrong set? And thankfully, Bill figured it out before we heard from our buyer. And since we had the other set, we put our heads together, and what we ended up doing was we took the dust jackets off of the set we still had, and then sent him 3 other volumes that were in better condition. And we told him, you keep those books, and we paid for the shipping. So we ate some money on this, but we took care of our buyer. So I wanted to call him, and I thought, do I have to call concierge to get his phone number? So I started looking around, and here's the steps. You can find your buyer's phone number. It's just right there. We don't have to ask for it. Just go into your seller hub, go into where your order is. You click the little drop-down box there where it says ship, sell similar, and then you see view record. Click on the view record. Boom, there's the phone number.
Boom, there it is.
Yep. And he must be happy. He returned my call, and because I had to leave him a message, and he just said, okay, I got your message. And then I never heard from him again. So I guess he's happy, but he has to be happy because that was about we lost about $90 on that set, on that sale.
And that is absolutely a bummer.
Yeah, but it's okay because I didn't want him to make him send those books back to us. They're heavy, and we move on because we have lots of other things in our profit piles to sell.
All right, Deb, can you tell me what's wrong with this listing?
You mean where it says 0 available?
No. Excuse me. The title.
Oh.
And I forgot to grab my example. So chat too. What's wrong with this title? I'll be right back. So talk for a second, Deb.
Okay. I'm looking. Filler Pads albums. Oh, no, wait. Is an album? It's an album 7.5 by 7.5. Is it the thing?
Album and 45.
It's too small. Oh, it's got albums and 45s.
Good
Thank
job,
you,
Deb.
audience. Thanks, audience, for helping me.
Right.
I mean, I was
Angela said it. So look, this is somewhat my fault. I needed inserts for my LP mailers. So when I type 200 LP mailers and this shows up, I shouldn't have to read anymore because all it is a square piece of cardboard and 200 of them. There should be no other reading required. However, had I kept reading, I would notice it said 7.5 by 7.5, 45.
Yeah.
So I even messaged the guy after I canceled. I go, you've got to change your title because for those of you who don't know vinyl, this is a 45 7-inch. This is an LP.
Right. So I was half right. I knew that something was wrong. And he's sold 14. I wonder if he's gotten any bad feedback.
Yeah. So, and just as a random grab, I grabbed Ministry and the Kinks. So very random two groups. But yeah, so my tip is make sure your titles are very accurate. This title is super misleading, which leads to unhappy customers.
Yes. Items not as described.
Exactly. Now, he was quick to cancel it, and I never went back to look if he actually fixed his title, but he should because he's putting the wrong eyes on his product.
And I almost wonder if he thinks he's kind of keyword spamming. If I put albums in there, I'll get more.
Oh, he absolutely is. Now, there is no one to bust him on that unless someone reports him, and I don't care to report him, but I hope he fixes it because, if you use the word Coach purse and you're selling some other purse, Coach will bust your ass for keyword spamming. There ain't no record police busting you for misusing the word LP, but it sucks because that's not what I needed.
Well, right, and he's offering free shipping, so if he shipped them to you, he's going to have to ship them back to himself and pay for that too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so make sure your titles are accurate. All right. Breaking news, it's time for Trendy Bolos. What is trending right now that drives sales to our businesses?
Well, when Jason told me this morning, let's do this, I'm like, I don't have anything. And I remembered I sold a Monopoly to Alaska. And, they just had their earthquakes.
6.7 on the Richter scale.
And 1,000 plus aftershocks. Oh, my heart just goes out to them. So anyway, I thought, well, Alaska is trending. We're all talking about it and thinking about them for sure. And so thankful that I don't think anybody died from it. So
Debbie probably sold hers based on an earthquake, and I sold mine based on a dead president. Yeah. So I had totally forgot I had this shirt listed. It is not a vintage Reagan Bush shirt. It is a remake. It is a retro, throwback that I put up about a month or so ago. And when Bush passed, I should have upped the price. Now, I got a lowball offer when I was in the middle of doing the class. I ignored it and ended up selling because I'm like, all right, as soon as I have a break, I'll kick the price up a little bit. In the meantime, it sold for full asking price, which was on sale for $19.49. I only paid $1.99, so I still made a nice profit. But the second any celebrity dies, if there is product to be had, people go and buy product. So this sold because he died. Did not sell the 4 weeks leading up to it. It sold the day after he died.
And I think I had that Monopoly game listed for at least a year. It is Christmas time and things are going to sell, but it's trending. When Stan Lee died, we have a set of 3, I think it's 3 books, and I doubled my price from $50 to $99. I haven't sold it yet, but yeah, you always pay attention.
And Jane in the chat says she has a Reagan Bush button. Get it up now. Get it up.
Yes.
All right, and then I have a new sound bite for this because it seemed way more appropriate. It is. If I can figure out where it is. There we go. Way better with the look on Stacy's face. Thrifting outside your comfort zone.
Love Stacy.
Once you conquer what you know, what then? Then you thrift outside your comfort zone and try new things and then become experts in new things.
That's right, because we have the whole thrift store. We are delving into some electronics that we've come across. I don't know anything about this. I tell my husband, okay, you're going to sit there and learn about this and list it for us. So we'll see what happens. I've always been kind of afraid of electronics because I see it as a higher return category possibly. And then people talk about, sometimes they take a part off and send your thing back to you, and I wouldn't know if there was something missing. So.
Well, I would hope you would know if a key was missing.
Oh yeah, well that would be easy. But there's something off the inside, so we'll see.
So what'd you pay for it, Deb?
$5.
And where'd you find it?
At a thrift store.
Of course.
Yeah.
So let's keep an eye on Deb's Gold Touch keyboard, or if you happen to need one, I know where you can get one from the book kiosk. Very well.
Yes.
All right, now mine, you're gonna be Debbie. You're gonna be like, what are you talking about outside your comfort zone? How about an empty bottle of booze for $50? Now, the reason it's outside my comfort zone is because my comfort zone is rum and rum only. This was an empty bottle of whiskey, but I'm like, okay, and I bought this at an antique store. So if you're new to following me, if you're new to Thrifty Business, if you're new to the thrifting board, I make a lot of money on the right empty booze bottles. This being one of them. This was a Motorhead whiskey. For those who don't know who Motorhead is one of the greatest metal bands of all time, Lemmy and the Ace of Spades. And this was at an antique store in Minneapolis for $8, and I flipped it for $50. Empty bottle. So basically, I flipped trash for $50.
Yeah, I was with you when you bought that too.
And my wife and I were on our way to a thrift store, saw this wicked cool vintage shop, so we stopped there. We never made it to the thrift store, and that was one of the items that we bought. So now I tell people specific rum bottles that sell for a good return empty, but don't watch the show and then go try and sell your plastic jug of Malibu. That ain't getting any money.
I checked something in the thrift store that it said from Spain, and it was worth like $10, so I left it.
Now I know they're making Johnny Walker. They're making a Game of Thrones whiskey, bourbon, scotch. See, I don't even know. I know Johnny Walker is one of those things, but I'm going to imagine even after you're done drinking it, that bottle will command a very nice price, empty after the fact. So if that's in your wheelhouse, if Johnny Walker's in your wheelhouse, get some of that. And hey, just get it, pour it in another bottle, and then sell the empty right away. I do that all the time with rum. When we run out of a bottle of rum that I know is going to be flippable, I just pour it in a plain bottle, put a little label on it, flip the empty bottle.
Nice. Yep.
Angela said there are 0 solds for cardboard wine boxes. True that. All right.
Too funny.
Oh, yeah. So our last little segment, we have renamed it. Aloha from the mailroom.
Nice. Okay, this is a letter that Lonnie Oscar shared with us, and I always get permission to share it with our audience. I purchased a brown suede cap from you on eBay. I believe strongly that is the exact cap I lost some months ago, perhaps on a plane, even with the ink mark I accidentally made on it. I'm happy to have it back and to actually pay for it, as it was a special gift from my daughter. And he says, I'd love to know where you found it or how it came to you. So what we do and things we find bring such joy to people, to buyers. Imagine finding your hat on eBay like that. So I thought that was really fun.
Blows my mind.
Yeah. Oh, and he had to have been looking for it. Obviously, he knew he wanted to find it and get it back.
That is absolutely crazy. So thanks for sharing that, Lonnie, with us.
Yes.
All right. So before we get to this week's guest, who's our guest next week, Deb?
Hussey Moore. I have known her, gosh, I think before Facebook. A bunch of us were in a book selling group on Yahoo. And awesome gal. She's a very successful seller. She's done, she sells books. That's how she started. And she's FBA, she's Amazon. So she knows a lot about a lot of things. So, and she's got an interesting tip for how she learned about an item. And I'm not going to share it until the show comes on. So you're going to want to tune in for that.
Yeah, Huja took my class in Texas, and she's one of those that was like some eBay, some Amazon. Oh, hardcore Amazon. Oh, I'm back to eBay now. So it's one of those things. I love watching people kind of come back and forth. What I recommend is don't ever leave. Put your eggs in as many baskets as you can and rock them all. All right, real quick before we get on with our guest, I did a CD webinar 2 weeks ago. And based on the reactions from people in the thrifting board, the Secret Beach, I have seen amazing results already for people finding stuff that they had not been looking for before. And we are, and the cost of the webinar with the professional notes is only $20. when you use Cyber Monday, all one word like this. Oops, sorry, ignore that. All one word. But we are upping the price starting on Monday because the webinar is worth $1,000. Easy. $20 is a steal, and we're upping it to $40. So up until the end of this weekend, it's $20 when you use the code Cyber Monday. And if you go to where's the little flippingcds.com, and you'll see this website right there. Look, I sell. I just got my last check from the last 2 weeks of just Amazon, and after fees, $1,400 in just CD sales.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and they're so small. They're easy to store, easy to ship.
Yep. Oh, nice. Rob just sold the Pink Floyd The Wall Gold Disc. All right. So here's what I want to do. I want to give away two free CD webinars. So I'm going to ask a question. If you're in the secret beach, don't participate. You already get it. So don't participate. All right. So the first question is, I forgot to do this, so I'm doing it on the fly. The first question is, before Katy Perry was Katy Perry International Superstar, she had a different name as a religious singer. What was Katy Perry's name before it was Katy Perry? That's my first question. I'll figure out the second one in a quick second here. So I go by whoever writes it in there first. And the way I see the feed might not be the way you see the feed, but I'll tell you who I see first. And I'm thinking another question. So
this is a Merry Christmas gift to two of our audience viewers.
Herb Alpert is Angela's guest. Yes, it's Herb Alpert.
I loved Herb Alpert when I was a little girl. I'd go to my grandparents and put that Cream album on all day long.
Very good. All right. So Jeanette was close with Kate Hudson, but it wasn't Kate Hudson. It was Katie Hudson. And I won't, spelling doesn't count. So B Chasen, send me a message on Facebook and I'll get you hooked up. Now, Lily had a great question, but we can't sell on Amazon, can we? Does the webinar teach eBay sales? No. Here's what it teaches. It teaches CDs in general. So it doesn't necessarily matter if you're selling it on Amazon or selling it on eBay. I teach you all about CDs in general. It's like a 2-hour and 20-minute webinar that'll blow your socks off.
It's fabulous. And for $20, I mean, most people, when they have classes like this, they sell them for a lot more. I want to give you another little bonus tip right now. I used to sell FBA. I still have my account. I don't have a pro merchant account right now. But I was scanning, and I never really checked this before. I clicked over. I can sell some new CDs. I didn't think I could sell any of them. Yeah, I was shocked. So I actually have one. I'm Merchant Fulfill. I have one for sale right now. So if you're using your seller app, make sure you click through because you might find a surprise like I did.
All right. So my next question. There we go. As I said, I totally forgot to do these. So I'm just doing it on the fly right now.
I know this answer. Can you believe it?
All right. Who did this band turn into? Now, again, if you're in the Secret Beach, no need to play because you get the webinar anyway. But who did this band turn into? They turned into a very popular band, and I guarantee a whole heck of a lot of you watch one of these people every week on TV.
And I've seen this band in concert. It was fabulous.
Wow, Jeanette Heritage, quickly. Yes, in the red picture, that is a very young Adam Levine, and Kara's Flowers turned into Maroon 5. So Jeanette Heritage is our winner there. So Jeanette and B Chasen, send me a message. Claudia got you by a second. Jeanette. So send me a message on Facebook, and I will get you guys all set up. For the rest of you, head on over to flippingcds.com. And make sure to plug in the code Cyber Monday so you get the notes and the webinar for $20. You find one CD that was not in your sites, you're going to more than pay for your webinar in one purchase.
It's great. Jason always over delivers. Always.
And am I hearing myself from Bill? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, Bill, turn your volume down.
I'm like, I think I hear myself somewhere.
I guess you do. I got these on. I can't
hear
hear
right. So that's it. Get signed up. I will have a post in the Thrifting board to remind you to get the webinar before Monday when the price goes up. But even when the price goes up, it's still crazy worth it. I keep selling $100 CDs every week, and that's the kind of things I teach you. So even if you pay $40 for a webinar and you learn one $100 CD, you've made profit. But don't pay 40, pay 20.
It's a tax write-off. Talk to your accountant.
Yeah, people knew I knew my Tiki stuff. They did not realize how well I knew CDs, but I've been collecting them since they came out, and I've been selling them since March of 2000. So I've been flipping CDs for almost 20 years. And so when you do that, anything for 20 years, you tend to become quite good at it.
And how many CDs do you estimate you've sold during that time?
Oh, I was, trying to figure it out because there was a point where I was shipping 500 CDs a month every month. But I think over 150,000 CDs.
Yeah, so you're the one to learn from. I love the story when we found a kid's Christmas CD for 50 cents and sold it for $125 3 days after Christmas. I mean, they are out there.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to talk to Melissa about that. But speaking of, let's get her in here right now, shall we? Whoops. Let's try that and that.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Melissa to the chat. Hello, Melissa. How the heck are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am dandy. I don't know if you saw early in the chat, like right at the beginning, my mom loves your Conch Republic flag. So I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Yes, I was just spending some time in the Conch Republic, which is Key West. For those of you who don't know, it's a kind of a fun story. I'll give you the quick version. During the oil crisis in the 70s, for some reason they blocked Key West, and so the Keys in general. So the Keys got pissed, and so they seceded from the Union. They coined themselves the Conch Republic. They then surrendered to the United States and asked for foreign aid. So that's the short version of the story. But that's the Conch Republic.
Wow.
So there you go, Deb. See, you learned something new. It had nothing to do with thrifting tonight.
And as soon as you said the gas issue, I remember sitting in a car, my dad's 69 Dodge Charger trying to get gas at the gas station.
All right, so let's give the quick bio of Melissa. Where are you? Who are you? Married, kids, pets? What's going on your end of the world there?
I live in a town called Groveland, Florida. I am married to my wife. We've been married for a year and a half. Yeah, really long time. We have 3 pets. We have a Chihuahua and 2 cats. The cats are bigger than the dog. And we just moved in the last year to a new home on 5 acres of land. We're going to have a little farm.
Oh, what do you plan on growing on your little farm?
So we want to grow pretty much anything that we can have ourselves. So, like lettuce and, have goats. We don't want to have like too many animals or too much farm, but enough to sustain ourselves and maybe, help the people around us.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I mean, and that wasn't the reason I was having you on the show, but that's kind of awesome. It's kind of awesome that you had that thought and you follow through. You got the farm, so now we're going to plant some stuff. We're going to get some animals. We're going to generate. We're gonna grow things with our own hands.
Yeah, pretty much.
Chickens laying eggs, and
I think that's gonna be the first animal we get is gonna be chickens. But we do have coyotes here, so we're a little concerned about how to combat that. But it's all a learning process, that's for sure.
You're brave.
All right, so you took my class in the Fort Lauderdale area. You came down and spent a couple days, and so not only do we have class, we had fun at the Mai Kai. Which wait, I have a picture. Nope, wrong picture. There we go. There we go. Let me throw the picture up there. So yeah, as part of my class, I only have classes where there's cool tiki bars. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's how I work it. In the chat before the show started, people were like, when are you coming to Michigan? And Detroit now has 2 tiki bars. So guess what? I'll come next year. How's that sound? But we're at the Mai Kai. It's the grand dame of all tiki places. It is beyond. If you've ever been in a normal tiki bar, when you get to the Mai Kai, it blows your mind because the Mai Kai has seats for dinner, has the full Polynesian show, the tiki gardens. The whole restaurant seats like 400 or 500 people. It's insanely big. And the bar itself is amazing. So here we are on the right side. We had a whole little section to ourselves. And part of having a class is the night between the thrift store class and the classroom class is hanging out at the Tiki Bar. So what was the most fun? Classroom class, thrift store class, or the Tiki Bar?
That's a really hard question. I mean, the Tiki Bar was awesome.
It's like it.
But, you know, I went into this thinking that the thrift store portion was going to be my favorite. It was interesting, but I think actually the classroom is where I learned the most by far.
So we have a story to share, and since Melissa's on, she can throw some into it. And I wasn't sure if I was going to share it, but screw it, I'm sharing it. So we had, I had figured out a Goodwill to go to. It's one I'd been to before. It's pretty decent size. The aisles are nice and wide. It's clean. It's organized. And part of having a class, when you have anywhere from 15 to 30 people like we did in Minneapolis, you need big aisles to move around. And so I go to the Goodwill the day before because there was discrepancy on their time. So I just stopped by. They're open at 9 a.m. like I thought, no problem. And they had a CD section full of hundreds of CDs. So we get in the class, and our friend Stephanie had come down to hang out. So Stacy was helping prep some sections, as was Stephanie. So I was working with the class in the men's section. Then I hand the class off to Stephanie, and I go scooting over to the CD section, and they're gone. They're all gone. Hundreds of CDs are all gone, and to the point where I'm scratching my head because it makes no sense. I'm like, what? Where did all the CDs go? So I even asked an employee, I said, hey, where are the CDs? And she went in the back. She said, someone bought them all. And I'm like, that happens? So I didn't have this prepped, but these shelves about 4 hours before, the night before, was filled with hundreds of CDs. And that's a good portion of my class. And so already I'm like, what the heck am I going to do? So in the meantime, Melissa and the rest of the class are in a corner away from everybody else. And there's only like a dozen other customers in this whole big store. And so, Melissa, were we ever in the way of anyone?
No.
All right. Nobody. We're in the way of no one. And so this employee comes over, and we're in this tight corner away from everyone. And she's like, what's going on here? And Stephanie said, well, we're having a class. And she said, well, what? All right, real quick. Who am I hearing? Am I hearing a feed from me somewhere?
I heard it sound like a dog barking, maybe?
No, that was me. Okay, it's going on. So I said, well, I take people, I teach them classes. And she goes, well, you're in the way of customers. I'm like, okay, and we all looked around. There ain't no customer around us. B, these 14 people are customers too. How are them being a customer? Like, I brought you 14 paying customers. And she was like, oh, she introduced herself as a manager. And she didn't like any of my responses, did she, Melissa?
No, but she was the manager, of course.
Then what did she say? What was the next words out of her mouth?
Oh, well, I'm not the manager.
I'm going to go get the manager. To which I said,
Yeah.
I thought you were the manager. And she said, I didn't say that. And the whole class went, yes, she did.
Oh, my God.
So the fact that there was no CDs and the fact that they're angry that 14 paying customers are filling their carts, we left. We have never left a class thrift store. But I looked around real quick, and there was a big thrift store nearby that had, I called them. I'm sure the customer service rep who answered never had this question before. I said, hi, how big's your CD section? And she said, pretty good. So I got there, and when I got there, someone was scanning with a scanner, and they were finishing up.
What is that sound?
Yeah. Melissa, are you guys listening to the show?
Hey, can you maybe turn your video game down?
That's what we're hearing.
My wife's playing a video game. You might be hearing the video game talking.
Wife, put your video game on mute, please.
Thank you, Ariel.
So, but here's the best part. Even though there was a professional scanner scanning away, guess what? We found good CDs. Like everyone left with CDs. So even if someone's scanning in front of you, don't freak out because we found good CDs. And here's the best part, Deb. Melissa, were you there when the manager was talking to me at the second store?
The one who was really appreciative of us being there?
talk about night and day. She said, "What you guys doing?" I told her, and she goes, "You brought 14 paying customers into my store. Thank you so much."
Good for her.
That should be the response, not like,
Of course.
beat it.
So now tell me again, were those CDs there when you got there in the morning, or did you
No. So it's so bizarre because I didn't like cherry pick. I just looked them over to make sure there was a good section. And like I said, there was hundreds. And I looked and I'm like, there's some good ones in here. There was no home runs, because if there was a crazy $200 home run, I would have grabbed it just for later for the class. But there was also a lot of dead shit, just penny CDs. For them all to be gone is like, people started having some conspiracy theories, but I'm like, I don't announce the store out loud, so they didn't know we were coming. So
but did the thrift store know you were coming? They didn't know either. Okay. Did you feel like you were in the Twilight Zone? That would be like me going and finding out all the books are gone. I would be like, what the heck? Nobody buys them all.
Yeah. So we went to another store, which worked out pretty well, because we also found one of the coolest things we wouldn't have found had we not been there.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The just coming out rack produced a Pan Am mechanics jacket.
Whoa.
Yeah, for $7.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, the universe was watching out for you.
And the manager thanked me more than once. She goes, "Please bring other people. Come back. We love customers."
Nice.
All right, so Melissa, let's talk about your takeaways from the classes. What was one or two of the things that you learned that you were like, I did not know that? I mean, I hope that happens all day long in 9 hours of class time.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, to really pick one or two things is actually really hard, because I mean, it's a mass amount of knowledge. If anybody gets a chance to go, you should go to the class. If you're on the fence, just go to the class. It might be stuff you would learn eventually, but why wait? Why not put in the time, put in the money right now, invest in yourself, and learn quicker than you would have, because it would take you years to learn all the knowledge that Jason gives you in a short amount of time.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, the CDs alone, I was really looking forward to all the CD knowledge, because I really enjoy music and it's something I really want to be into. And so all of the CD stuff was invaluable. Even though I just did the CD webinar, going to the class was just further knowledge about the CDs. Tiki.
And you will notice, though, because you just took both, I made a very strong point to not repeat any of that between the two, because I feel if you're coming to the classroom class, on the location class, although I'm teaching CDs, I'm giving you a whole different content, because I want to make sure that if you've paid your hard-earned money to take both things, you're not going to see any repeats. Like, we went to a comedian once who we loved, and all he did in his act was he recited his whole album that we had just heard. I'm like, what? I know these jokes already. I expect to hear a joke or two, but he did the album straight through. And I'm like, I'll never do that. I'll always have fresh content for everybody.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah, there's a lot of knowledge. A lot. I mean, there's a whole booklet you gave us worth of knowledge, honestly. So, I mean, to pick one or two things is impossible, actually.
Yeah, Angelique reminded me of something. The thrift store in Dallas gave the class scratch off discount tickets because they were so happy we were there. So they're like, here, scratch it off. Whatever it says you get, we'll take that off your percentage.
I think Minneapolis did that too. She was there.
Well, Savers always takes care of us, and unfortunately, there's no Savers in South Florida. So it's such a crazy
Savers. You need a store there.
All right.
No, seriously, Savers needs a store here.
Yeah, I know. I keep telling them where they need to be. All right, so let's back up into your online career, because one of the things you said in your notes to us was you had started eBay a few times over the years and then just kind of didn't keep up with it. So what's changed from then to now?
I would say what's changed would be my why. We want to have kids next year. We want to have this farm. I want to work for myself. No offense to my boss, but I don't want to work for anybody anymore. I just want to work for myself. So, I mean, it's very clear to me that that's what I want. And it's, I've kind of always wanted that, but I've just never committed. And a couple months ago, I said, if I had a part-time job, I would go to that part-time job, 20, 30 hours a week, and they would give me $6, $7 or whatever it is now. Why not put that same amount of time into myself?
Right.
So I try to mentally treat it like a part-time job. So I make sure I do it every day. I mean, I list something, even if it's one thing, I list something every day. I do something with my business every day, and it's been working. I mean, I started really seriously in March of this year, and I would say, I mean, I had 2,000 in sales in the last month. I mean, that's a huge difference from March.
Nice.
You know,
Congratulations.
sales every day. I just want to grow it as much as I can, as quickly as I can. So anything I can do to get me there, I'm doing it.
Now, does your wife help you? Does she learn with you?
She's laughing. No.
Well, she can help
not.
with video games. She knows video games. Tell her to source the video games.
She helps me with the testing of the video games, which ends up biting me more often than helping me. Because she'll be like, I think you need to take this video game off of the options. I think we're gonna keep this one.
So, you know, it's funny, when I host a show, I got chats going. I've got this someone help me with questions, and I didn't see your wife poke her head in, but the feed's 30 seconds behind, so I was looking at the chat and I'm like, oh, I missed her poking her head in again. That's twice tonight.
She's fast.
So here's the greatest thing. You, after class, said, I'm not done. So it was 2 days of classes. You're like, I'm going to the CD store. Hey, Jay, there's a CD store over there. Your mistake was telling me, because I showed up too. But what was great was, you know, I often, when I see my students or people I've worked with in the past at a record store and I see they got a stack, I always look through it. And if they got any real duds, I'm like, no, put that back. And here's why. You had no duds. Your stack was good. I would have, had I been there before you, I would have grabbed every single thing in your stack. So well done.
Excellent. I like to hear that. I'm really trying.
As we left to go take our naps because we're old, you were looking into the video games. So did you find any good video games at the record store?
So I didn't find any good video games, but I have, I recently bought a whole video game system lot at a yard sale, and it was like 8 video game systems, and 2 of them were Sega Dreamcast systems, and I don't own any Sega Dreamcast games, so I was able to pick up a Dreamcast game so that I can test it there. I mean, I've already tested the systems for power, but I need to test them to make sure that the video games, you know, that I can read the video games and that it actually works. So I was able to get that.
And that was a great little store. So next time you're in that area, they didn't price them high. They had a good variety, a lot of game stuff, a lot of CDs. And I could definitely spend more time, but I was, after 2 days of, you know, talking for 9 hours, hanging out at the Tiki Bar, I'm like, I need a little nappy nap.
They were definitely like a dorky store. So I would say like I probably fit into like a dorky niche. And I bought a William Shatner CD for myself. I don't care. Anybody could judge me. That's fine. I totally bought it for myself. And the guy checking me out, he was like, this is a great CD. And I was like, this is the place for me.
Oh,
yeah, I like that store.
There again.
I would absolutely go back there in a heartbeat. There's another great record store if you're back in that area called Retroactive. And the funny thing was, I went to them twice. I said, hey, where's your Christmas section? And he goes, we don't have one. I go, weird. Okay. So I'm shopping. I find the Christmas section, and it had understock too. So he came over to tell me they were closing in 10 minutes. I go, hey, by the way, here's your Christmas section. It's labeled Christmas. How long have you worked here? And here's your understock.
Oh my gosh.
And the Christmas section was facing the front counter where he works. I'm like, this is so weird. Like, how long have you worked here?
He probably looks at it every day.
That's definitely a thrifting adventure.
Oh yeah. I mean, he has to have seen it. So, but you know, but yeah, so not any good stores in Miami, but 2 in Lauderdale that I really like. So
now, how far did you drive, Melissa, to get to Jason's classes?
I drove 4 hours.
4 hours. Was it worth it to you?
Every minute. And since I drove so far, I decided I was making a weekend of it. I mean, class was only Friday, Saturday. So I stayed till Sunday at a little motel, definitely a motel. And I decided that I was gonna go down there. I was looking for stuff to buy. That's why I went to the CD store right after. I went, I did some retail arbitrage that night. I did some thrifting the next day, and absolutely it was well worth the 4 hours.
You're gonna do well. Yes.
All right, so let's talk about the coolest thing you have ever sold online, because we always ask that question. Most of the time they're cool. Sometimes I'm like, you don't know the definition of cool. But this one's cool. This one's super cool.
So the coolest thing I sold, and it was a couple months ago, was a Jane Mansfield hot water bottle from the 50s. I bought it at an estate sale in the area, and I priced it, because I watched all of your shows. I priced it what I thought was higher than everyone else. You know, I looked at the sold prices. I priced it a little more. I sold it within 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So maybe I should have priced it higher, and it went to Australia because I do worldwide shipping.
Nice.
That, you know, awesome. The record I showed for the Where in the World segment, I priced it higher than normal, and it sold like that. And I'm like, crap, I went like 30% above the average. And, or no, I went 30% above the highest one I could find. And I'm like, crap, that's happened to me a couple times this week. It's a good problem to have, but I'm like, ooh, did I leave some money on the table?
Mm-hmm.
Now, was it labeled Jane Mansfield at the sale, or did you figure that out by research?
So this particular estate auction place I do online, I do think it was actually labeled Jane Mansfield, which blows my mind because everybody has the same resources I do. They literally could have looked her up and saw that she was selling for way more than that she sold for at the estate sale. But I still won it. It blew my mind. Blew my mind.
Awesome.
I even used their picture.
Oh, she's smart.
That might have been wrong, but I definitely used it. I mean, why waste time taking the picture again? It was a perfectly good picture.
Too funny. All right, so let's talk about your scores, because when Debbie takes care of all this. She's my producer, and so I don't see any of this stuff until I set up. Like, I didn't even know Debbie was going to talk about a beater lack blanket, and I was talking about San Marcos today, so it always makes me laugh. Well, it's got a best offer on something. But the fact that you brought up a Brian Sipe as one of your scores, do you mind sharing your age?
I'm 36.
Okay, so you're not young, you're not old. I got you by 11, 12 years. But Brian Sipe, when I was a kid, was the Browns quarterback, and we loved Brian. And one of the probably more shortest quarterbacks in the NFL. And the fact that one of your scores is a Brian Sipe poster just blew my mind. Where in the world in 2018 did you find Brian Sipe posters? Because you found more than one, correct?
I did. So I found it's the same actually estate sale place. I bought I want to say it was like 20, 24. 20 maybe posters, and they were all the same. You know, they were all these 1978 Market.com, Sports Illustrated posters, and they were all in mint condition. And I paid $9 for all 20 of them.
Oh,
and
wow.
I sold them ranging in, price from 20 to 60. If anybody's looking for something like that, I still have more on my eBay. Just saying, but this was probably one of the better selling ones, the $60 for sure. And I get a lot at the full asking price.
So, Deb, this is something you don't know. My mom, well, you probably know this part. My mom taught jazzercise for like 72 years or something. But the person who brought jazzercise to Ohio was Brian's wife.
Oh, wow.
So talk about a cool thing. So when I was a kid, Brian Sipe was a quarterback. Bob Golick was one of our linemen. Kevin Mack was a running back. So these were all, to a young kid in Cleveland, these were all superstars, and all their wives were involved in jazzercise. So we would go to these jazzercise events, and there's Brian Sipe, there's Kevin Mack, there's Bob Golick in tights. And so I got to hang out with the superstars of the Browns when I was a kid. That was just awesome. It was awesome.
Okay, I have to ask, how were they playing back in those days? Were they winning?
They were called the Cardiac Kids back in those days, because they would win at the last second. Like you'd be having a heart attack. And so they made these foam bricks called the Cardiac Kids brick or something. So you could throw the foam brick at your TV for them just driving you nuts, always winning in the last second, giving you a heart attack. Wow,
well, at least you knew they were going to win. That's awesome.
All right,
they're doing great now.
We go from Brian Sipe to something you talked to me about that I was I was not aware of that much.
Which I see it. It's
sorry, I never told you. If you click on the picture of it, it'll make it bigger. I'm sorry, I never told you.
I see it. Okay, so this is a Rock Band set. So I do a lot of video game items. I actually started doing them to try to get my wife into reselling with me. It didn't work. But so I bought at a garage sale 2 boxes of Guitar Hero Rock Band items, and it had this whole set. It had four other guitars, and I sold this one for $150, full asking price. I did have to Frankenbox the bejesus out of this. The wife, so the lady I bought it from, she really wanted it out, and the guy wanted $20 a box, and she was like, $20, I'll put it in your car right now before he comes back. Let's go. I said, yeah, let's do it. And so I sold that for the full asking price of $150. And I actually I boxed it up, and I was so focused on making sure it fit in this Frankenbox. I shipped it out. I came back home, and I went, oh no, there's the microphone and the drumsticks. So I had to actually ship them separately, and the buyer actually gave me a glowing feedback, about integrity, and so it worked out really well.
Awesome.
But that's not the only thing you sold from Guitar Hero.
That's correct. This is also from that same box of Guitar Hero items. Now this one is a PS2, PlayStation 2 Guitar Hero guitar, which is an older system, so you wouldn't even think. So that Rock Band one was a PlayStation 3, and you wouldn't think that the PlayStation 2 would sell for, what did I sell it for? 35, 38. You wouldn't think it would sell for as much, but it sure does. All of the Guitar Hero stuff, if you're not looking for it, and it's usually very cheap, I find them at thrift stores all the time, especially Goodwill. But if you're gonna get them at Goodwill, if you can, bring a screwdriver, because some of them have like a screw back. A lot of the video game accessories will have like a screw to take out the batteries. So to check the batteries, you actually need to open it. I've definitely got burned that way a couple times.
Was it corroded inside?
Yeah, it's definitely happened to me a couple times. I buy a video game accessory and it is way corroded, but I didn't bring a screwdriver, and I didn't, wasn't able to open it in the store. But for $3 or $4, usually you'll take the risk.
Yeah.
But I test them all before I send them out. So it took me a while to build up all the video game systems, which my wife loves. But I've thrifted them along the way, and now we have most of the video game systems at this point to test them.
Nice. Smart.
And another Guitar Hero guitar. Oh, $55.
Wow.
Yep. So this one I sold, it's from the same box. This is a wireless guitar. So if you find the wireless guitar, so if you see it has no cord, you want to try to find out if it has a dongle with it, because it's just like a wireless keyboard. It needs a dongle. You can sell them without the dongle, but it sells for much better with it. And the Guitar Hero games and the Rock Band games are really easy to find. They're super cheap. So I usually bundle them with a game.
Smart. Now, what is a dongle? Does yours have the dongle?
So that one did have a dongle. Basically, what it does is it plugs into the video game system, and it allows you to use it wirelessly.
Okay.
Just like a wireless keyboard, you've got that little piece, except it's a much bigger piece.
So that's our vocabulary word for the day. Dongle.
Dongle.
My admin Angela's in the chat giggling like a school kid.
I know. I told my wife,
she said
I'm going to talk about dongles. And we're going to talk about dongles tonight, my wife. Good.
So let's go from dongles to Henry.
Okay, so this is a Tiger Electronics from the mid-90s, Henry Electronics game. You remember those little, like they had, what was it, Lights Out and all those games?
Yep.
This I found at a garage sale for $1, and something said, hey, I had, it was a whole bunch of them, a whole bunch of the Tiger Electronics games, and something said, just buy them. And so I did. And sure enough, this one, all the others are selling for like $10 a piece. This one sold for $45, full asking price.
Nice. Yay. So fun to see all these different items.
Now we're back to video games, but not really. We're on to a sweatshirt.
Wow.
Yes. And don't judge my picture taking. I'm getting better as we go along.
All right.
But,
hey, your prices are blowing me away. Your sale prices are blowing me away. So you're doing good. Wow.
So this is a Sonic the Hedgehog 3 sweatshirt. And this is from the mid-90s as well. It did have a couple little stains on it, which I disclosed in the listing. But I sold it for the full asking price, and it went to Canada, so he paid for the shipping as well.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but not everything is a winner. Even you have some duds.
Oh, boy.
Oh, index
Yeah.
cards.
So I thought I was being smart, and so I do some retail arbitrage, and that school time. They have all the all the school supplies on sale, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy all these index cards. What? I paid like $2 for the lot of them, and I offered free shipping, and I sold it for $8. So
you're learning.
And I'm here to attest too. Not all CDs are winners. I mean, compared overall, few and far between. As long as you learn what the few are, then you're doing good. Unfortunately, this ain't one of those good ones.
It's a great band, though. It's one of my favorite bands.
Well, this is what I did wrong. Not only did I only sell it for $5, free shipping. I open the case, so I take all my CD photos. If they're used, I take it, front, and then I open it so you can see inside. And you can see the booklet, right? Well, I never took the booklet out. It turns out inside the booklet, this was signed by the band.
Oh, yeah. That band's not together anymore.
Oh, they're not.
Peter Furler was the lead singer. He's not with them. So there's other guys from other bands that are putting them together, and it's not the same.
Yeah, so you see it's open, and in the open part, it doesn't show a signature, but the buyer messaged me, hey, did you know this has a signature? Well,
hey, you want to give me more money?
Yeah, right. I said, well, you know what? It's yours to keep. You just won. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Enjoy.
So real quick, the question I had is, what is the FFD 5144 in your title?
Oh, so if that was the number that I found on the booklet. So I watched a lot of your CD videos and your album one, and it said about the numbers, and so I put it in the title. I don't know where I should really be putting it.
Yeah, so that is definitely more for the records, and I figured as much. But you don't, so I figured that's what it was. But what I want to tell you is you don't need the parentheses. Don't throw in any added punctuation that doesn't have to be there.
So I watched. You said you talked about that recently in one of your videos, and I started going back and being like, oh, I have that all over the place.
Oh, comma, asterisk, period, dash, parentheses,
quotation. Yeah. So I started deleting all that stuff, and so in my newer listings, I don't have any of that.
All right, good.
I try to pay attention.
You do. And that's kind of the reason I want to have Melissa on tonight. I've had people take my webinars, take my classes, join the Secret Beach, and some people dive in, full on, and some just kind of, they enjoy it, they read, but they don't apply it. And so when I see someone really applying it and really hustling to make it, it excites me. It excites me to teach people. It excites me when I see the light bulbs go off in the class, and it excites me when I see people in action, because watching her around the record store, I saw her working it, and when I looked at her pile, I went, yep, those are all good. I'm like, yes, I love when I see people really crushing it. So, and I could just tell by your demeanor that you've got it. You know what you need to do. You know how to hustle, and you know how to do a variety of things. And so you are going to enjoy your farm, because you're going to be able to pay for the goats and pay for the seeds and pay for some alligators to raise on your farm, being in Florida.
I mean, I love it. It's a treasure hunt. Like, let's be honest.
Yes.
When you go out to thrift stores or garage sales or anything, and you find something for 50 cents a dollar, and you can sell it for more. I mean, I don't know. I think it's amazing. It's like being a pirate. Like, it's a treasure hunt.
Yes. Welcome to the club.
And you have brought us our largest live audience in a while. So, Melissa, you bring the crowd.
Yay.
Yes. All right. So, everyone, do me a favor. Give us a thumbs up down below. Melissa was a great guest, and tonight there was so much great content between me, Debbie, and Melissa that it was worth the price of admission, which is free. It's nothing. It's free. So we'll be back next week. And what's funny is, Melissa's kind of new to this, but really getting her feet wet. But Hooja, who's our guest next week, like I said, she was in eBay and then kind of left it, and now it's coming back. So she's kind of relearning everything, and she's been selling online for a long time and scanning for a long time, but she took my classes and learned a ton too. So I enjoy having these kind of guests on that are, trying new things, or maybe coming back to an old thing that they thought they needed to leave.
Yeah.
So that's what we talk about next week. So make sure to If you've not subscribed, subscribe down below. And when you subscribe, there's a little bell. Click the bell. It'll let you know when I am going live. Speaking of live, I should have had the graphic. Mom and I will have a show this weekend, selling past your expiration date, being thrifty over 50. Haven't figured out the topic yet, but we will. So we'll be on Sunday sometime. So keep your eyes peeled to the Thrifty Business fan page on Facebook or to the thrifting board. We'll let you know when we're on and what we are talking about.
Yes.
Oh, great question. I will end on this. Yvette wants to know. Two questions. Aaron said, best way to show the shiny side of a CD to show condition. Here's the best way. Don't do it. I saw in Melissa's picture, all you see of the shiny side is her elbow. So don't do it because there's no point into it. Just describe it. It's impossible to take a photograph off without seeing yourself or to actually see if there's any marks. Just describe it. I have never taken a photograph of any of the 150,000 I have shipped, and I've never had a problem, so don't do that. And the event says, do you download the CD webinar and then have to refer back to it? Yes. Once you sign for the CD webinar and get it, you can watch it as many times as you want. I recommend watching it once and just having a cocktail, sitting back and enjoying it, and then let it digest for a little bit, and then watch it a second time and really take your notes. But in between, like Melissa did, get out to the store, start putting it into action. When you put it into action, you start to remember, oh, yeah, Jason said look for this and do this. Then you go back and watch again. You kind of fine-tune your way through the record store.
And right now is a good time to look for Christmas because some of them don't put their Christmas CDs out all year, right? They bring them out.
And as always, I am killing on Christmas. Hey, by the way, Secret Beach members, those of you who are paying attention right now, I mean, not paying attention, those of you who are watching right now, my webinar for this month is going to be my Christmas CD webinar part 2. I'm killing it on Christmas right now. Some things that were good before aren't so good, and some things that we never talked about are really hot. And so I figured what better time. So I'm going to prep it this weekend. So Monday will be the Secret Beach webinar for this month. And my good friend Anna Hill, who is a accountant by trade, is going to be our guest webinar for this month and talk about all the things we have to do at the end of the year to take care of our tax situation.
Oh, joy. Oh, joy. We love that class.
It's not as exciting as CDs, but it's something every one of us needs to be aware of. Do we need to buy something big at the last minute kind of thing? All right. So make sure to stay tuned for all that. And then I'll see you guys on Sunday. So, Debbie, thank you very much for being my co-host. And, we're going to end on a cute little doggy.
Oh, so cute. What's her name or his name?
Her name's Bianca.
Bianca. Oh.
Well, Bianca, thank you very much for allowing us to play with your mommy for an hour. Melissa, thank you very much for being a guest. Thank you for being at Secret Beach. Thanks for taking the classes. You're a great student, and I look forward to doing some more things in the future with you.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right, and we are out of here. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you on Sunday with my mom selling past her expiration date. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.